Hi everyone, welcome back to Box Delights. Today I'm going to be demonstrating Corsair Leader for you. This is a game from Dan Viersen Games. This is a second edition, I think, 2018. And the aim of this video is to give you kind of a quick start, how to get into the game quickly. I struggled a little bit with the rulebook and just figuring out what it was I was supposed to do. So I want to give you some tips on how to get into this thing quickly. There's a ton of content and it's a little bit overwhelming. So let's dive straight in and get playing. So we're going to start with the Luzon introductory campaign. If you search for other videos on this game, more likely than not, this is the campaign it's going to show you, and I'm going to do the same. But once you've got this down, really the rest should fall in place. And actually there's not a great deal extra to learn once you've played a day or two on Luzon. So we're going to do that. We're going to do one day. A big part of this game is about choosing your squadron of planes. So we're going to show you how to do that very quickly, how to start playing. Right, without further ado, let's dive in. Now let me just add, this copy, Dan Viersen sent me this to show you, and it's been sitting on my shelf for a long time waiting for me to get it down. I have bought some extra bits, so I bought this Corsair Leader Aces expansion pack. I've got some planes to show off to you. These are Ares Games Wings of War. This is a Dauntless. Isn't it beautiful? And this is a B-25 bomber. I don't have a Corsair, though I did see one years ago at the Fleet Air Arm in Yeovilton, the south of England, if you get a chance to go see it. The Corsair has these kind of folded wings. It's very distinctive. Kind of like the Supermarine Seafarer of the RAF. They have these folded wings to reduce the amount of space it takes up on an aircraft carrier. Because in this game we're commanders of a US Marine squadron in the Pacific, launching bombers and escorts. Actually, the Dauntless is a dive bomber, but the Corsairs were the primary escort fighter planes. And on this first mission, we're here in the Luzon Strait, and it tells us we're on a final push to liberate the Philippines in late 1944 and well into 1945. This mission will take place in 1945. And our aim is to push the Japanese out of this island chain. We're going to complete a series of missions, and in each mission, this is called a campaign, each mission will award us victory points if we're successful, and we've got to try and achieve a certain number of victory points. Each campaign, you can choose whether to play short, medium or long. And one of the great things about this game is the ability to scale up your planes, or kind of upgrade your planes. Each pilot has 6 levels. They start at newbie and go from newbie to green, average to skilled, and then we've got veteran and legendary. If you play a short campaign of 3 days, there's not a great deal of opportunity to upgrade or promote your pilots. But with a long, full 9 days, then there's much more capacity. But I'm just going to set you up how you'll probably want to start. So first recommendation is start on this campaign, start with 3 days, and the first thing we need to do is pick our pilots, and I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. On the Luzon campaign sheet, it tells you a year, 1945, US Marines, and it tells you available aircraft. You've got the Avenger, the Corsair and the B-25. So you've got a dive bomber, you've got a fighter, and you've got a bomber. 3 types of planes. There's many more types of planes, but you'll get a whole stack of tokens. What you need to do is grab the types of planes that are listed on the available aircraft. Right, now you'll know which tokens because every token has a set of these 3 cards. Alright, and these cards have the years on as well. This one says 43 to 45. Alright, remember we're playing 1945. So take all your cards, sort them by aircraft type and year. Right, you really only need to do it by aircraft type. You'll find that some of them may have UK planes as well as US planes and some other nations as well. So these are all the US Marines, right? US planes. All right, like this B-25G Mitchell. Okay, is USA Air Force. All right, and find all the chits that match these. Stick them into a big pot, give them a big old shuffle, and then draw randomly. Okay, in the back of the rule book, it gives you this as an optional rule. It's called random squadron selection. Once you're familiar with the game, you're going to want to hand pick your aircraft, but there's a stack to choose from, and this is kind of what slowed me down. I was overwhelmed, I didn't know where to start. So I just did this. I just did a random selection, ended up with a set of random planes, and off we go. Chances are you'll end up with more Corsairs than anything. And I should say, make sure you've got these 4 sheets, right? The dogfights, and then these 3. Key terms, pilot skills, player help sheet. And starting aircraft on the player help sheet tells you what you need. Okay, so to start a short campaign, you need 8 planes. Okay? 8 planes. If you're doing medium, you end up with 10 planes, and then long 12. All right, so we want 8 planes, 8 random planes. Now the other way to do it is to just go and pick out the same planes that I've picked. Okay, which are these 8? All right, so I've got 4 Corsairs, 2 bombers, 2 dive bombers. All right, 2 Avengers, 2 B-25s, 4 Corsairs, and just pick these 8 pilots, and then you can get playing. I'm not saying they're the best picks, but it'll get you going and it'll be a good pick, and then you can decide. Now the pilots are pretty well balanced, right, by DVG, so whatever you pick is going to be good. Now the bonus of doing the random selection is it also helps you a little bit because it gives you a bonus number of special ops points or SO points. All right. Now but we'll talk about that in a bit too. Once you've picked up your 8 pilots, go and grab your player log, and I'll give you a link actually, because you can download these from DVG website and print your own off, so you can write on these without any concerns. Right, now do it in pencil because you're going to be doing rubbing out. Okay, so do it in pencil. All right, so write the names of your 8 pilots down the left-hand side here. Now, as I say, each pilot's got a different skill level. So this Corsair here is a newbie. Now your starting aircraft says you start with 1 newbie. So as you put all these chits in a cup, mix them all up. Before you pull them up, say, right, newbie, pull a chit. Then pull 2 more, 2 greens, right? And pull 2 chits. Then pour 4 average, 1 skilled. And you'll end up then with your whole squadron. And you'll write them on your sheet. And then here you'll write whether it's N for newbie, G for green, A for average. And then you'll have 1 skilled pilot, Sakamoto. The next thing you want to do on your player sheet, if we look at Sakamoto, right, S for skilled next to Sakamoto and all the others. Then the next box here is the number of XPs that they're going to need, experience points they're going to need to rank up, to get promotion. So Sakamoto needs 11 experience points. So you write 11 here. Now I've already done day 1, I'm on day 2, and we're going to play day 2 here. So Sakamoto picked up 2 experience points, so I've coloured in these 2 circles from day 1. He needs 11 to move up from skilled to veteran. Alright. Now the other thing you need to do is grab some chits for them. So you've got their player chit. The other thing is look at these numbers. Right, these 4 numbers here. This number here is called cool. Alright, now on your player sheet, in this column here, you're going to fill in a circle, 0, 1 or 2, depending on how much cool he's got. So he's got 1 cool. Fill this in. We'll learn about cool as we get on. The next stat's called situational awareness. This isn't going to come into play for us as it goes. I'll talk about it when we get there. But if any of your pilots have non-zero situational awareness, like this one, then that will come to play a little bit further along. But let's not worry about it for now. The next stat is called gung-ho. So Sakamoto here has 0 gung-ho. Some of your other pilots will. So Top has 1 gung-ho. All right. If they have a gung-ho, give them a gung-ho token. All right. If they have 2 gung-ho, give them 2 gung-ho tokens. Like Jericho Baker here has 2 gung-ho, so he's got 2 gung-ho tokens. Alright. The final stat is weight points. We're going to talk about that shortly. Now the other thing that you'll do once you've picked your pilots, so if you want to go with what I've got, we've got Figueroa, Sakamoto, Leyland Top Gilton, and then Tom Madman Manley. That's our 4 Corsairs. We've got 2 B-25s, Goldman, Guadagnino, and then we've got 2 Avengers, Jericho Baker and Bear Grimmond. Grimmond's average, got 2 average, 2 greens, 2 average, a newbie and skilled. Okay, skilled Sakamoto is a great choice. So if you want to play with me, use these 8 pilots. Now the next thing is, looking at your campaign, is to check how many SO, any special option points you get. SO points are like a currency in this game. So we're playing short, 3 days, we get 20 special ops, we've got 20 SO. Medium 35, long 50. Okay, we're going to spend a good deal of these. Some of the planes that we've chosen may cost SO points. Some of the planes we've chosen may give a bonus SO points. B-25 bombers, we've got 2. It says we have to pay, and it says 5, 10, 15 SO. That's for short, medium and long. So we have to pay 5 SOs for these B-25s. We've got 2 of them, that's 10 SOs already gone. I'm going to suggest you leave about a quarter of your SOs unspent. And the reason why is that some of these event cards, we'll learn about this in a bit, will require SO points to be spent. Write your SOs on your player sheet. So initial special option points 20, aircraft purchase plus or minus, so we got minus 10 because of those 2 bombers. Skills purchase, that's what we're going to do next. And then optional rule points. If you do the random squad selection, you get a plus 6 on your SO. Right, so I would have started with 26. So what about these skills purchased? It says minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. You can now start dishing out skills to your pilots. In a short campaign, each skill you give them costs 1, in a medium 2, in a long 3. So I've got minus 7 here. I spent 7 SO points on skills. We'll write them in these little sections here, but what you'll see is each pilot can take a maximum of 2 skills. So for some I've given none. Sakamoto's got 2, lucky and cool. Guadagnino's got 2, and Top I gave 1, still got it. What skills do you choose? Well, my advice is just to try some stuff out. Okay, you've got a sheet here, and on here it's got pilot skills. One of them is here. So still got it, for example, says after spending a gung-ho, roll a die on a 8 plus, retain your gung-ho. Gung-ho is pretty key because gung-ho kind of gives you a second chance at stuff. Right, it can save your pilot and it can save an attack. I can guarantee an attack. So gung-ho is pretty key. Now you can give 2 different pilots the same skills, but you can only give each pilot the same skill once, alright? So if you give a pilot 2 skills, they have to be different. 2 is the maximum. Now the game does come with a bunch of counters, but it's only got 1 of each. So I printed off my own. You can find these in files section on Board Game Geek. Print them off, stick them on cardboard, cut them out, and you can make as many as you wish. But what you'll see is here, for example, Madman, I've given the fighter pilot skill. Okay. Jericho Baker over here, I've given a +1 cool. Okay. I've adjusted his cool stat from 0 up to 1. Okay. The other thing you can do with SO points is promote your pilots. It's here on the player help sheets. Okay. For pilot promotions, campaign length, if I want to promote a newbie, it costs 2 SO. So newbie to green. From green to average costs 3, and so on and so on. Right? Giving pilot skills and giving them promotions is a one-time thing. You do it at the start of your campaign. Once you begin playing, you can't do this again. Okay? So I've not done any promotions, but you may want to. I would suggest play your first game, skip this bit. Okay? Let's see how we get on. That's pretty much it. We're ready to go. And here's your sequence of play. We've got a pre-flight, target bound, over resolution, homebound, and a debriefing. So we're going to kick off now with our pre-flight. Like I say, we've done day 1, so we're going to do day 2. The only reason I did it this way is to show you kind of how a campaign might progress. So what I'm going to do is just finish up with setup. And I'm going to finish the video, and then you can join me back in part 2, and we'll actually see the gameplay. Because there's a couple more bits of setup we need to do, and once I've shown you that, then we're good. So we have an event deck and a target deck. Now the target deck comes from this sheet here. All these target cards are numbered. Here's a couple of cards from day 1. So this was 42, this was 29. These correspond to targets on this map. So what you need to do is pull out all the target cards that match those numbers, give them a good old shuffle, and put them in the deck. Alright, so that becomes our target deck. Your event deck is all the events, okay, shuffled up. These are discards from previous day. Okay, so at the beginning of the game, a full event deck. Right, so we've got those 2 ready. And then lastly, we need a bag. This is or a cup. The game says a cup. I've used a bag. It doesn't come with a bag or a cup. You'll have to find your own. But you want to grab all the bandits. These are the red tokens that are listed up here. All right. Now as it goes, they've got a year on them. So these are all the, look at the plain side, these are all the 1945 bandits, okay? Now they match these. I'm going to shuffle them all up. There's a big bag full. Alright, we're ready to go. Oh, one last thing, I guess, before I wrap up the episode. And that is this. This is part of the upgrade pack. So the Luzon campaign might look slightly different to your one that I've got here. Got some extra tokens, some cards are corrected, so there is an upgrade pack that you can buy that replaces, gives you these tokens. Alright, these things are missing from the base game, but these ones, you want the ones with the damage on the back. But if you don't have them, you can actually find these tokens and just draw some flames and a little bit of damage on the reverse. Alright. Okay, otherwise just proxy these tokens. That's it then, so I'll wrap up here. We're done with the setup and we're ready to start our first missions and look at some gameplay. So join me in part 2.